Walk into your local library today, and the doors slide open for you. It's a space designed for the community to gather, learn, and share ideas for free. But for the vast majority of human history, a library wasn't a resource for the public. It was a fortress. If you attempted to walk into one 3,000 years ago, guards would turn you away. In Mesopotamia, around 3000 BC, libraries were not centers for literature or philosophy. They were strict administrative vaults, used to store commercial accounts and legal contracts. By 2400 BC, Egyptian libraries followed a similar model. Access was restricted to an elite class of scribes, known as the keepers of the tablets, who managed the specialized knowledge required to read and write the state's records. Because these libraries held the primary evidence for land titles, tax status, and criminal records, the person who controlled the tablets controlled the legal identity of the citizens. In the ancient world, hoarded knowledge was a mechanism of state power. As civilizations expanded, the goal shifted from simple record-keeping to a more ambitious project, the attempt to gather and organize every piece of human knowledge in a single location. By 700 BC, the library in Nineveh had accumulated so many thousands of tablets that the staff had to invent the world's first classification systems just to keep the collection usable for the ruling scholars. This reached its peak under the Ptolemaic dynasty in Alexandria. The mission was to collect the entirety of Greek literature, with agents scouring the known world to bring scrolls back for translation. To manage this hoard, the scholar Callimachus created a revolutionary subject catalog. He divided the scrolls into 10 classes, including law, medicine, and mathematical science, turning a chaotic pile into an organized research tool. Humanity finally learned how to organize global knowledge, but the privilege of using it remained stagnant. These catalogs were tools for the intellectual elite, while the average person remained entirely excluded from the library's walls. The Romans briefly expanded the circle, placing libraries next to temples as public forums where citizens could hear authors recite new works. But when the classical empires collapsed, the responsibility for preserving these texts shifted to religious institutions. Knowledge retreated into the silence of Islamic mosques and Christian monasteries. Inside these spaces, monks copied manuscripts by hand. Because each book took months or years of manual labor to produce, the objects themselves became more valuable than the buildings that held them. By the 1500s, books were so rare that libraries chained them to desks to prevent theft. Patrons provided financial security deposits just to consult a volume physically bolted to the shelf. For centuries, the obsession with preserving human history resulted in a system that treated books like gold bars, protected by iron and available only to those who could afford the collateral. The catalyst that ended the era of the chained book was Gutenberg's printing press. By mechanizing the production of text, the press transformed the book from a handcrafted treasure into a mass-produced tool. As the Industrial Revolution drew massive populations into the cities, it created a new, literate working class that required information to navigate a rapidly modernizing world. This demand created the circulating library. For the first time, people could pay a subscription fee that allowed them to take the books home, breaking the requirement that reading had to happen under the librarian's watch. These businesses introduced new norms. They offered newspapers and magazines, stayed open for extended hours, and for the first time explicitly marketed their services to women. Market demand and industrial technology succeeded where the ancient world had failed. They stripped the physical chains off the books and integrated them into the daily lives of the public. By the mid-19th century, governments began to view literacy as a national asset. They started funding public libraries through tax revenue, like the Landmark Institution in Calcutta in 1835, making access a permanent civil service. This shift transformed the book from a private commodity into a civic right. As the concept of democracy expanded, the library became its primary hub, providing the free information necessary for a population to participate in their own government. Reading evolved from a solitary, guarded act into a collaborative experience, where floor plans were opened up to encourage students and neighbors to learn from one another. The modern library functions as a community engine, designed to distribute knowledge as widely as the ancient vaults once worked to hoard it. It has evolved from a fortress built for the few into a resource that empowers the many.